everyone, and welcome once again to the XFL Huddle Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. William D. Morgan. Got my co-host with me right now, Joshua. Joshua, how you doing, man?
Well, we are only 4 days away from kickoff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am pumped, man. I'm so excited.
I am too. I'm extremely excited for this. Should be fun and good times. And guys, remember, even though the NFL is over, the XFL is just beginning. So you have everything that can be tailored to your football fix. But first of all, let's go ahead and get the personals out the way. How was your weekend? How was your week?
It was good, man. It wasn't bad. Little bit of a personal note, but I did tear my ACL, so I will be having ACL and meniscus repair surgery.
Oh man, definitely keep us up to date with that, man. Sorry that happened.
But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. How was your weekend, sir?
Very good, very good. Had the little ones for most of the weekend. Then I got settled in, watched the Super Bowl, watched the Niners lose, but it is what it is.
So I honestly did not watch not 1 minute of the game.
What?
Not 1 second, man. I was already looking forward to Saturday.
Wow. I got you, man. I got you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into XFL, what we got going on. First of all, what I wanted to go ahead and bring up. I want to bring up the ways that I think the XFL will be successful and why I think we'll get a second season. Now, I want to know if you agree with me with this, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the rest of the show after this. The first way, in my opinion, the money. I think Vince McMahon won't let cash flow be a problem. The Alliance of American Football was an issue because they struggled for cash. I don't think that'd be the issue with the XFL.
So I actually read an article today that Vince is prepared to lose $345 million in this first year.
Wow.
And he has funded it for 3 years, no matter what, 3 years.
Woo. So I don't think that we're going to be suffering from a money standpoint or a money issue with this league.
Not this time. He took the time. Remember the last time he launched the XFL in a month. Month. He took the time this year. He did it right. 2 years. He brought in some of the top football minds. I'm telling you, Oliver Luck as commissioner was one of the best choices that man ever made for this league. It legitimized this league as a real football league.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to get off topic because I'm actually excited to what else you hear. But yeah, the money is there. The money is not going to be an issue this time. He sold over $100 million worth of shares of WWE to make this happen.
And to keep everything in perspective, he did a lot of this funding through his second company called Alpha Entertainment. So keep that in mind too, guys. He's committed to this. So I think we're going to get an exciting first season, and I believe we'll get an even better second season. Reason number 2 for me, we're going to have strong media partners this time around. We're going to be looking at Fox and ABC/ESPN. We'll be making the coverage easier to watch. The last time around, you remember, it was ran by
only NBC.
Yep. And it was a
primetime thing. It was prime time.
Don't forget, too, he has some games come on UPN and a national network, which is Paramount Network now. So now he has a stronger media presence with this. So it's going to be easier for you guys to watch games. I think he's running games 4 times a week. So that'll be very interesting.
So it's going to start off Saturday, Sunday. And then as you get further in, they're going to do some Thursday games.
Okay.
I think the most is 3 days a week. I think. I could be wrong. But I think your first 3-day game is week 6, week 5 or 6, something like that. But definitely, I agree with point 2. He also, I don't know if you saw this, but Like the teams are reaching out and getting sponsorships of their own. The Roughnecks just announced today that Kroger is sponsoring their opener this weekend, and the first like 10,000 fans are getting a limited edition shirt. Um,
Wow.
so the teams are reaching out and built to their communities and getting sponsorships, and that's a big deal too because you look at all of these teams, every single national team. Yes, they have the national sponsors for the NBA, but every single team goes out and gets their own sponsors. And so when the communities start rallying around these teams, that's a big deal. Like that's a big deal.
Wow. So I think that's another reason why the league will be a success from now to for a few years to come. Who knows? Maybe even longer. Another reason why I think this league will do a little bit better than last time. You brought his name up earlier, Commissioner Luck.
You know, that man, like, I was a little young to know his career, but I've said this before, I've been following this league from the very beginning. I knew very little about him other than his son before, but he has done a fantastic job. Like, he took this idea that Vince McMahon had only because the ALF came to him wanting to buy the W or the XFL name, and he's like, I want to relaunch it. And Luck took that and ran with it, man. He got some of the best college coaches. He got some of, I mean, the tier hiring system is a great idea. I mean, all of it. Like, and then just even to that, he brought in some awesome other minds from the NFL. Like,
Yes, he did.
I Oliver Luck was the pick.
And the thing I like about it too, the first time around, Vince ran everything. He was running
Mm-hmm.
he was running everything. Now he's giving
Mm-hmm.
Luck power over football operations, which I think is really good too.
I
And so far he's hit the ground running.
Oh yeah, I actually read that when all the teams got together here in Houston for their training camps and everything, Vince got together with all the coaches and he told all the coaches, "I'm not going to be involved. Like I'm very step back, but if y'all need anything, here's my phone number." Every single head coach has Vince McMahon's number if they need to contact him about something, but he is not involved on a day-to-day basis.
Yes, that is correct. Another thing too, and we talked about it a little bit last time. Team locations. If you go back and look at it, every NFL city has a team. Major city anyway.
And I think that's how they're going to expand it too. I'm in a lot of these groups, man, and like they're all just itching like for some actual action. So all they talk about is expansion, expansion, expansion. I think what they're end up going to do is exactly how they started. They're going to go to those tried and true football cities or those cities that have lost their football fan base that they know are hardcore fans, like St. Louis. St. Louis
Yep.
lost their team, but they are hardcore fans. And if you give them something to root for when they lost their football, they'll take it. And they're proving it with 20,000 people expected this weekend.
That is correct. That is correct. Now, let's also look at another reason, and I'll go down the list of each one. And it's a little bit more detailed than we did last time. They also have some big name head coaches in this league, some coaches with
Mm.
some notoriety and star power. You got Kevin Gilbride, you got Pep Hamilton, you have Mark Trestman, Bob Stoops, Winston
June
Moss,
Jones?
Jones. You have a lot of star power just within the coaching ranks that can really make these teams something to see.
So I've never been a coach guy. I've never really I know the big guys but I've never been the guy that like knows pedigrees of coaches and stuff like that. I'm lucky if I know that for most players, but when they announced the coaches, they gave us so much time. I did research on a few of them and read a lot of their little packages that they released. Every one of these coaches have a storied coaching career. Like they've all had an amazing coaching career. And
Exactly.
I'm excited to see what a lot of these guys will do. And I honestly believe look, Bob Stoops was being looked at to coach FSU this year.
Yep.
Told them no to coach in the XFL.
Yep.
I mean, that's crazy. He turned up. I mean, that team is good. He could have probably had a national championship with FSU, but he passed it up to stay with Landry Jones and the Renegades. That says something. And I guarantee you, everybody talks that this is going to be a second chance for players. It's going to be a second chance for some of these coaches too. You're going to see a few of these coaches in the NFL in head coaching positions at some time.
I can see Jonathan Hayes, if he makes a comeback with St. Louis. I can see what he does. I can see also I can see Jim Zorn coming back if he does well with the Seattle Dragons. I can see him coming back too. I mean, he was one of the
You got the ones that won't, but I don't see June Jones going back to the NFL. I just don't. I think this will probably be how he finishes his career, but I could see all those you listed very easily in the next couple of years.
I mean, Jim Zorn helped put Seattle football on a map. So,
he did.
So you can
bringing him back to Seattle was a great. I mean, and they did that with a lot. I mean, you look at every coach. Almost every coach had a connection to their city. Almost everyone, and the president that they picked too. Every coach and president had a connection to that city, and that was a great thing. Like the slogan for the Roughnecks down here is "For the H," and for the whole time they've been saying "Doing it for Houston." Like they have from day one just taken, like they've implanted themselves in these cities, and it's like they have just grown organically for the last we found out about teams almost a year ago, right? I think
about a year ago. Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't feel like they just popped up with this league and said, okay, here's your team, we start in a month, go root for them. No, they announced the league, they announced the teams, then they announced the coaches, then they announced the players, and they let that team grow in each city very organically and build a natural fan base before hitting with the marketing, which you've seen a lot this week. I mean, a few of my friends told me, because they know I'm into it, that I guess they advertised quite a bit on Fox for the XFL during the game.
They have.
So the cities were, the way they did the whole process, just if this fails, spring football does not need to happen. Because I'm telling you, no one has done it as good as Vince McMahon and Oliver Luck have done it this time since probably the AFL.
All right, let's go ahead and move on over to some other news that we have going on here. Roger Goodell.
Oh. Well,
football fans. Josh, you there?
Yeah, I got you now. I lost you for a second.
Okay. But Roger Goodell was in the news this week saying that the XFL would be positive and create more fans.
And I agree with him. I mean, some people, I'm on and run several XFL boards, so I see a lot of these comments and I read a lot of these comments, and some people just trashing it. But those are the people who haven't done the research and haven't seen. It's not the same XFL that was in 2001. It's not. It's not this wrestling type football. It's football with a few rule changes, and it's gonna be really good. Like, I'm excited to see what it is mid-season. What's happening mid-season? Because I think that's gonna tail the tail.
Now they haven't. And
go ahead.
Another thing, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
We haven't had the announcement of the rosters as of yet.
Some of them have been announced. Most teams have named their starter quarterback. Houston has not, which is really making me nervous a little bit. Because you got Connor Cook and Philip Walker over there, and either of them could easily get the start. And I'm surprised they haven't made a selection yet.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right. Do you have anything or any news you want to go over before we move on to our next topic?
So there's only a couple of things I wanted to discuss as far as news. Trying to keep everybody up to date. I know a lot of people are wondering, is there going to be fantasy? Everybody's talking about it, and I know a lot of people have formed like alt ones on like alt fantasy league and stuff like that. I know FanDuel just announced that they launched their XFL to this week, and then what's the other one? God dang.
Let me ask you this: did DraftKings do anything with them?
DraftKings, that's the one I was trying to think of. DraftKings, they just started taking bets like today, I think.
Okay.
Those two are official. Oliver Luck was on a podcast last week or some article and said that they would have an announcement about fantasy this week. I guess they could. Something might still be in the works with Yahoo. It seems late for me to try and launch fantasy at this point. Like, it seems late. I think I would just wait till next season. Do it right.
They should have did that 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. At least last week. Like, you got to have time to let people draft. Like, so I think it's late at this point, and I think it's probably not going to happen. But if they do, it's probably not going to be very good yet. I think ESPN got the right idea, and let it see. Like, I wanted to mention this earlier, and I hate to jump back, but Vince has got it funded. We're good. We got a good TV deal, better than last time, but he's still looking for that big TV deal. And that's what he's wanting out of this season is big TV deal and big name sponsors. Like he wants those big names, and he'll want to get out of the Saturday evening time spots, evening afternoon time spots.
Yeah. Be kind of cool if we do some Sunday stuff, but I'm
I mean, they're gonna. Oh, you mean Sunday evening?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That'll take some time. Like he'd have to have some numbers to pull some Sunday evening slots, like NFL. Like that's Sunday, Monday evening are high times. He'd be more likely to maybe get like a Thursday, and it sounds weird, but a Tuesday would honestly be better than a Saturday. So many people just aren't home Saturday at 2 o'clock. But I don't think it's going to make I still think you're going to get a good amount of viewers. And I don't think they're watching the ratings. I don't think that's something that they're looking at, really. But next news I had was I think that was really it. There hasn't been a lot of news this week because we're getting ready for kickoff. All the teams are in their practice facilities getting ready. Like I said, a lot of the teams name their.
Yeah, they did.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Yes, they named him. I'm excited to see Seattle versus DC, the opening game of the season. I think that is going to be a fun game to watch. I truly believe that might be a rivalry, like two ends of the country just fighting, because those are both really good teams. We're going to talk about power rankings, and both those teams are in a pretty good spot.
I'll say this about the Dragons: he better hit on Silvers. If he doesn't hit Silvers, it might be a long season for the Dragons.
I can see it.
They were predicted to just win 3 games, so
they're
gonna have
to. I think some of these teams are gonna. I know Brandon Silvers. He showed some flashes in the AFL or ALF. And I think he's being, like I said, the ALF did it too. They launched really quick. These guys had no time to become a team. I've been watching all these videos of these teams practicing and learning, and they are just, they have become a team. Like, they're a brotherhood, like you see in the NFL. And I think that makes a difference. You can't take all of these guys as they played throughout their entire lives. They're on teams, and teams aren't just guys that get together and play. No, they're friends, they're brothers. That's just how the game has to be played. And when there's not that camaraderie, that connection, it doesn't work, and the players don't play as well.
You're right about that.
Because really, football's a big game of trust. You got to trust the guy in front of you to block for you so you don't get hit.
Yep. That is exactly correct. I'm glad you said that. Now, the XFL has a weird amount of rules involved. And what we're going to start doing is going over a rule or two just to get better clarification on it, so we know what we're going into before the week of the XFL gets started. What rule are we highlighting today, my friend?
So, well, I'm actually going to give you a choice because I got, like you said, there's a lot of rules, and I could go into a couple of them, but
Okay.
either the overtime, because I didn't go into much on that last time, or the game clock.
Let's go over the overtime.
That's the one I was thinking, sir. So overtime will be a shootout style. Each, it kind of like in hockey. That's kind of what I said last time. Sorry, my page just closed.
Oh, wow.
Got it back. So overtime shall consist of 5 rounds, staged in alternate single play possessions. So each team's going to give a round to go, and then it'll switch off each time. A round will consist of 1 offensive play per team. Each possession starts at the opponent's 5-yard line, and then the offensive team has 1 play to score. The team with the most points after 5 rounds is the winner. So, really like the NHL and soccer, back and forth penalty kicks, basically. Back and forth, just penalty shots, penalty touchdowns is basically what I guess you should call them. If the team has been mathematically eliminated before the 5th round, it'll be called by the referee, and it'll game ends immediately. So if the team manages to stop them 3 times in a row and the other team scores, game's over. If the teams are tied after 5 rounds, and the rounds continue until one team is leading at the conclusion of the round, and that team will be the winner.
Gotcha.
Okay. There will be a minimum of 20 seconds between plays, with ball spotting official working in conjunction with TV and official rule review.
Okay.
In an overtime, the end zone, when the overtime takes place, will determine at the 90-minute meeting. The rationale behind this: NFL overtimes can end in a tie, and teams' offense may never see the field. Overtime may also take up to 27 minutes to complete in the NFL. XFL overtime allows both teams to play offense in under 10 minutes and always has a winner. I know that's one thing they were really trying to eliminate. A lot of fans in the NFL have problems with ties. I think it's a dumb rule. I don't think that that teams should tie. Like, you need a winner. And it just, I like, we'll see how this overtime works out. It seems weird to me. I want to see it, visually see it, and see how it works. This is one of the weird rules that I feel is kind of strange, but could be cool. So we'll see how it goes.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And thank you for breaking that down because it may come down to overtime to decide the outcome of some of these games too.
And guys, if you see a rule that you think funky and you want it explained a little bit more, please write into us on our Facebook page, and I will tackle it next week. I'm sure you're going to see something out there and be like, "What was that?" Because I've been studying these rules for weeks, and I'm still sure I'm going to see something and be like, "What was that?"
Yes, you can hit us up on our Facebook page at XFL Forever. At XFL Forever is our Facebook group page. You definitely hit us up there. Let's go ahead and
Also,
move on.
XFL Podcast,
Mm-hmm. Yep. At
XFL
Gmail.
Huddle Podcast. Excuse me.
Yep.
Excuse
At
me.
gmail.com. At gmail.com. That is correct.
Yep. So, what's next on the list, sir?
And I want to go ahead and before we go over our power rankings, I do want to go ahead and talk about our player spotlight for the week. Sammy Coates.
Sammy Coates, my boy, man. I am so excited to see this dude play. I'm so excited. I've watched video on him. I've watched all his training at camp, and with June Jones as his coach, man, they're gonna light this dude up. Like, I am so excited to see this man play.
And like I say, he played on a receiver rich team back when the Steelers, so to speak. And if you go back, he was a Steeler from 2015 to 2016. Then he moved on to the Cleveland Browns, the Houston Texans, Kansas City Chiefs. He was on that practice squad with them. And right now he's with the Houston Roughnecks. 29 receptions, 528 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. However, if you go back and look at his college highlights, second team All SEC in 2014, SEC champion in 2013. The talent's there. I
Yes.
think the talent is there. He just hadn't had a really big time to shine, so to speak.
Well, and I didn't put this together until I was doing the research. Him and our guy last week, Cap, were on the same SEC championship team together in Auburn.
Yep.
Like, I mean, there are so much talent on these teams. It is insane. It is crazy that these guys aren't playing in the NFL. And I can't even say how much I'm excited because I think he's got a great quarterback and they're going to set up some insane plays. Giving June Jones a double forward pass, I think is just going to be really cool to watch. I'm excited about that, man. Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the breakout players of the season. And I think he could be one of the top receivers in the league.
I do too. Like the talent is there, so we'll definitely see what he does. All right, let's head on over to our last story of the night. The
Real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt, Will, but I wanted to get your pick'ems. We're 4 days out. We're almost there. So I wanted to ask you, who do you think is going to be in the championship game? I'm not going to ask who's going to take it all. Everybody's made their predictions on that. I want to know who you think is going to be in the championship game. And also, I'm going to add one more. Who's your pick for MVP?
Oh my gosh. That's a tough one. Got so many players.
It's a tough question.
And we're making that pick before there's any sample size either. But
I know.
Give me a second. Let me look through my stuff. I do think that I gotta pick. If I'm picking a champion, am I just picking the champion or am I picking both teams? Because right now,
two teams for the championship. Two teams for. You can tell me who you think's going to win too. I'll take that. But 2 teams for the championship and who wins it?
Just looking at it from what I've seen, with all the post media hype and things of that nature, with Bob Stoops as their coach, Man, I gotta go with the Dallas Renegades. I really do.
And see, that's why I wanted to do this before power rankings, because once we get into that, some of what you're saying is going to make sense. But who do you
I
think
mean,
they're playing?
that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, I was looking at the Vipers the other day. Um, uh, if you gotta hold my gun, man, that's tough.
I got a gun to your head. 3,
That's
2,
tough.
1.
Dallas, Dallas. Uh,
Dallas and Tampa.
yeah. No.
I think.
Dang it, man. It's
I think those
tough.
are. I think that's a good pick. I do. I think that's a good pick. I would make one change to that. I think DC. I think
My,
DC's got a team.
they do too. My only call for pause with Tampa Bay, they just lost Antonio Callaway for the
Mm-hmm.
year.
That's a
So
big deal, man. That was a big loss for the. That was my other breaking news. Losing him was a big loss for their team, but it was a big loss for the league. He was one of the more high profile guys. But I'm hoping with some good physical therapy, maybe he can get back early. I've read a few things that said that might be a possibility. But losing him was a hit to their team.
yeah, man. Yeah, you can say the DC defenders, like you said too. You can look at those guys as well.
That would be mine. I think it's Renegades versus DC. I think that's the one. And you already know how big a Roughnecks fan I am, and that hurts me to say that. It hurts me to say that. But those two teams are stacked. Renegades are in our division. Um, and that one depends on too. I haven't heard about if Landry Jones is starting this weekend. It depends on how long he's out.
I haven't heard that either. I don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah,
Real
so it depends. I don't know if they, like you said about Tampa, I don't know if they can do it without Dungy as their quarterback. I don't know.
real quick before we get into the power rankings, let's go over the game. Let's go over the game for week 1 real quick.
Hang on,
February,
real quick. You didn't give me your MVP because I got mine. I truly believe Landry Jones probably MVP this year if he comes back healthy and good. MVP.
because he's going to be a focal point in our offense. Oh my goodness.
I know I'm putting him on the spot here, guys. Like I'm
He's
putting him
going
on
to
the spot.
he's
But
gonna be he's
I
gonna be
wanted it to be authentic.
he's gonna be a force on the offense. I think for you guys. I think, and I like him. I like him in Carolina. I like him here. You. It might be your boy Cameron Artist Payne.
For the Renegades,
Yeah.
see, that's my thing, man. That team is stacked. Both of us picked 2 Renegades players as the MVP. That team is stacked, man. Like they just and
Now,
they've all played.
now I do want to preface something. If Cardale Jones can do anything at all, he might have a shot. But I gotta see him. I gotta see him do it first. It's a meaningful football because
Yeah,
he didn't.
I agree. And but that's the thing too is we're mentioning these 2 guys and Cardell Jones, but there are so many guys that could just pop off and have their best season of football ever. And I'm excited to see who does because there are names on these teams that could just go nuts.
They can go off. They can really go off. So yes. All right, let's go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt there, but I had to do that. I needed to know, and I wrote them down, and we're going to look back at the end of the season and see how it went.
He wrote it down. All right, I want to go ahead real quick and go over week 1. February 8th, Saturday, February 8th, as we all know. Seattle Dragons versus the DC Defenders. Also, the same day at 5 p.m., the LA Wildcats versus the Houston Roughnecks. Sunday,
If you're
February the
central like me, that is a 4 o'clock game.
4 p.m. game. That's 5 p.m. Eastern for me. This game on Sunday, February the 9th, the Tampa Bay Vipers versus the New York Guardians. And Sunday, February 9th at 5 p.m., which is 4 p.m. for you guys, the St. Louis Battlehawks versus the Dallas Renegades. Hey, real quick, best logo in the XFL.
Oh, you put me on the spot back.
Yeah.
But see, this one I'm prepared for. I already got you. Best logo, I truly believe, is I think the Battlehawks. I think that logo was sick. Either them or the Defenders, because I like that they actually have a shield.
Yeah.
They have the DC Defender shield for the team that goes around. I've seen it a lot of their press and stuff.
To me, it's the Battlehawks or the Roughnecks, and I like the Houston Roughnecks logo because it looks like it pays tribute to the Houston Oilers from back in the day.
So much. Like, I did love that logo, and I think it's a fantastic logo. Even though the one I have on my hat that I'm wearing right now looks a lot like it's the head with the an old school roughneck, and it looks a lot like the Patriots to me. But which kind of hurts my heart because I despise them. But I agree with you. Roughnecks had a cool logo. Some of these logos come looking out like someone created them on NFL Creator, but some of them are really cool.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is going to be.
But if we're gonna ask that, then we got to go into a next one, and we're not on a huge time limit tonight. So, best uniform.
Oh.
Because to me, this one is easy. I think the Guardians have the sickest uniform. Like, they have the black and the silver, and that's my color. I think they have a sick uniform.
I sort of like the DC Defenders uniforms too.
That would probably be my second. I'm truly, Roughnecks got my heart, but DC's probably my number 2. Like, I don't know. Something about that team has just hit me.
Oh, I'm telling you, this is so exciting, fellas. So exciting, guys.
It's so pumped. I tell you, if I lived in Houston, I would be at the game this weekend.
Oh, man. Georgia doesn't have a team yet, so I'll have to travel all the way down to Tampa Bay and barely a guy like that right now. But maybe next year I'll have it like that, so we shall see. All right.
I saw some people traveling from Alabama to go see the DC Defenders. I saw some people doing that. Yeah.
Wow.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
Yeah, I can hear you. I guess we lost William there.
I'm still getting little bits, I think. Well,
William, are you there? Yeah. Well, I guess we lost him for the show tonight. It was going along really well there, I thought.
it was again a really good show.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll just go on and we only had one thing left, and that was just in the power rankings.
All right, Josh, why don't you take it away and give the power rankings there?
All right. So, guys, I'm going off a lot of different places launched power rankings this week, but I'm going off CBS Sports because it's the one I trust the most. Some of them are different, or they're almost all different in one way or another. But I'm gonna go from top to bottom, or from bottom to top. Keep y'all in some suspense. So, number 8, in the power rankings. Will's not going to like this because this is the team I think he's chosen to support. Seattle Dragons. Team with the biggest fan base, 20,000 tickets sold planned for the opening, but they are number 8 in the rankings. It says it'd be great if Zorn could return to Seattle, but it would require a big, excited roster at his disposal. Like I said earlier, Brandon Silver's shown flashes in the AAF, but regardless of whether he or BJ Daniels takes the most reps at QB, the Dragons are going to have a hard time breathing fire. Like we were saying, any one of these guys could pop off. We'll see where it goes. Number 7 is my Houston Roughnecks. I really don't agree with this, but I'm not a sports writer, so June Jones brings some offensive promise to the team at head coach. It probably would have been better if he could have brought Johnny Manziel. I do not agree. It says Connor Koch and Sammy Coates are big names, but they're about all the Roughnecks have improving playmakers. I agree, but I've been watching this team since they formed. They have really, really grown, and I think they have really become an organic football team. Number 6, St. Louis Battlehawks. Coach Jonathan Hayes, formerly longtime tight end coach for Seattle Bengals, has never overseen a staff before, but he's actually got a solid core development pieces and some key spots. Former Minnesota Vikings reserve Taylor Haneke at QB, Matt Jones at running back, NFL standout Will Hill at safety. This team, I think, is going to do better than what they're ranked. They've got some really good team players on the team. So we'll see what happens. Number 5, the New York Guardians. They got 2-time Super Bowl champ Kelvin Gilbride as their head coach. So that's a big deal. Their QB room is also one of the most underrated in the league. They got Luis Perez joining Matt McGloin, which is one of the bigger names in the NFL, or the XFL at this time. They're going to need a bunch of young guys to make a name for themselves if they want to make any noise, but I think they're going to do that. This is the one we were talking about. This is one of my sleeper teams for the year. Tampa Bay Vipers. The odds makers love them entering the season, but losing Antonio Callaway was a big deal. That's a huge hit for them, guys. Like, it's a huge hit for the league. Like, he was a big name. Ex-UCF athlete Quentin Flowers and former NFL backup wide receiver Tanner McEvoy are potential role players. They also deserve to be punished for replicating the Oregon's uniforms. I read that off CBS. That's not my opinion. Los Angeles Wildcats. This is the team that my Roughnecks play this week. I will know more about them after I see them. Their offense skill positions don't pop off the page, but they have been diligent about keeping Josh Joseph, the longtime NFL backup, atop their QB depth chart. His experience is a big plus. Even bigger, they got a proven defensive mind running their sidelines in Winston Moss with some really underrated pieces for his side of the ball. Nick Novak is sneakily solid goal guy to round out the special teams unit. Number 2. This was mine and Will's pick to win it all. The Dallas Renegades. Riding high on Dallas football teams is usually a recipe for disaster, but this is different mainly because they could call this team the Oklahoma Renegades and gotten away with it. Bob Stoops and Landry Jones. That combo alone gives them such a level up on experience at the game's 2 most important spots, head coach and QB. They've also got Darrell Johnson pulling the strings in the personnel department, so they'll have some draw for any potential big name acquisitions. Oh, and their unis are just as, if not more sleek than the DC's get up. I don't agree with that. I don't like the Renegades uniforms, but they're also Dallas team, and I just have a disdain for Dallas. Number one, this is probably like I said earlier, my second team in the league, and I could definitely see them being a contender for the championship. Um, it's the DC Defenders. Um, okay, so all that talk about knowing who's going to be good and who's not, forget it. Wipe it from your memory banks. Consider it hogwash, at least regarding the DC Defenders. If the Defenders aren't vying for championship in April, I promise you'll only eat 2 boxes of Girl Scout. Whatever, I'm not going to read that. Firstly, their uniforms are the cleanest of the crop. I do agree. Most importantly, they've got an incredible underrated talent that should thrive at the XFL letter. Like we were saying, Cardell Jones, Eli Rogers at receive. Hey, Will, can you hear me?
Gotcha. I don't know how to happen.
So I started going through the power rankings.
Okay.
I'm actually already at number 1, but I could run through them again, and I do want to get your opinion real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So number 8 was Seattle Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7, Houston Roughnecks. Number 6, St. Louis Battlehawks. New York Guardians at number 5. Tampa Bay Vipers at number 4. Number 3 is the Los Angeles Wildcats. Dallas Renegades at number 2. And DC Defenders at number 1. I was just saying that a lot of what this says agrees with kind of our picks, DC being one of the top teams. It mentions Cardell Jones, Eli Rogers at receiver, and 3 legitimate NFL caliber defensive backs at Matt Elam, Shamarko Thomas, and Raheem Moore. That's the only team that's really had any mention of their D-line. They've got a stacked D-line. I might have to change my pick and say DC Defenders take it all. Truly.
Another thing that I do like about the Renegades. See, Howard Mom, he's like the godfather of the spread offense. So, I see what you mean with defenders, though. I see what you mean with the defenders. That's a good pick.
I after reading that, man, like I think Cardell he's probably up there for one of the MVPs too, as long as he has a really good season, as long as pressures don't get in his head or whatever. I am there. And is there any of these you don't agree with? Because I voiced a few of these I don't agree with. I don't think the Roughnecks should be at number 7. I think I kind of agree with the Dragons at number 8 because I just don't know who they have other than Jim Zorn. The Battlehawks to me on paper look like they should be lower than 6. And then the Wildcats in some of the other rankings I've looked at have been as high as 6 or 7. And on this one, they're number 3.
The one I'm looking at from Anthon Sports, the Wildcats are number 5.
See?
And I think they're being disrespected, man.
You think number 5 is too low? It's too high for them?
I think it's a little too low, just for the fact that Winston Moss, look, he's gonna put together a good defensive game plan. You can make an argument the Wildcats might be the best defensive team in this league. Make an argument.
Is that your sleeper?
That's my sleeper, because you can make that argument that he might have the best defensive team in the whole league right now. He has potential to win chess matches if it comes down to that. I just think they're being disrespected, and those guys, that's my sleeper pick right there. That's my sleeper.
I think that's a good one. I mean, I don't know. Well, like I said, I haven't focused on some of the other teams as hard as I focus on the Renegades and Roughnecks because Texas boy. But the Battlehawks, I think they don't read well to me on paper. They just don't. And then the Renegades, I could see them being number 2. Again, this is all playing if Landry Jones starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But my sleeper, if I'm going to take DC to win it all, my sleeper is the Guardians.
Ooh. Kevin Gilbride and company. Ooh. That's nice.
Kelvin Gilbride, you got Luis Perez and Matt McGloin trading for the QB spot.
I like Matt McGloin a lot.
I mean, I said it when I was reading through him. Matt McGloin's one of the biggest names in the XFL. Like, people know who Matt McGloin is.
Nope.
Vipers were number 4. I agreed with that before Antonio Callaway out.
Yeah.
I don't think they're number 4 anymore. We'll see where they're at. Like I said, I could still see them in the championship, but
that hurts, man. I mean, they still have Aaron Murray. They still have Quentin Flowers, but Goolsby's a good tight end.
I'm excited to see what Quentin Flowers does, but you got to remember he's never played pro football before. He's never done it. Like, he didn't even play in college. He was an athlete, but he didn't play football. So, and like I said before, he's had time to really adjust, and he obviously has done something because he made the 52-man roster. So, he's obviously done something.
And another thing I like too.
Go ahead.
Another thing I like too. They have 14 players from Florida schools, so they've done it organically down there in Tampa Bay.
Well, that's Houston too. Like, there's a lot of those, and then DC. I think it's it's St. Louis has a lot of their players that played in that area too. Like, they're trying to bring these players to where they're going to connect with the fan base, and I love it. Love it.
This is going to be a hell of a season. It's going to be a hell of a season.
How pumped are you for week 1, man?
I'm pumped, man.
What game do you think is going to be? What's the game to keep an eye on?
And I'm actually off this weekend too. Yeah, I'll be able to check out mostly everything.
So what's the game that you think is the game to keep an eye on? I already gave you mine. I think that first game, the Vipers versus DC, I think that is going to be the game to watch. I'm excited to see both of those teams. Or it's not the Vipers. I'm sorry. It's the Dragons. Dragons versus DC. I'm excited for that game. I think, and I'm excited to kick this off, man. I've been following this for 2 years since they announced this relaunch. I've followed it since it was a baby, and I am so freaking ready.
I want to see St. Louis versus Dallas. That's what I want to see, just so I can gauge the Renegades to see how good they're actually going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've already picked like championship and all that, and I'm not gonna have us pick a winner for each game because then the pickups get crazy and I'll lose track. But since you're rooting for Seattle, right? That's your team that you've picked for the season.
Team I picked. Yep.
All right. So everybody knows I picked the Roughnecks. So do you win or lose your opening game? And y'all are playing in DC too. So
DC. I don't think we win it. I'm not gonna put heart over my head. I don't think we win it. It's just a bad spot. And there's so many questions with Seattle right now. Who's the quarterback gonna be? And if Silvers is up to snuff. So but because of that, I'm not gonna pick with them. I'm not gonna go with them the first game of the year. Now, when we get into week 2, week 3, and things settle, let's see what we're looking at.
I tend to agree. I think DC is going to come out firing on all cylinders. I think they're going to come out hot. I've seen a lot of their videos, and they've been hitting. Oh, and that was another thing. So the brother for the 2 guys that play for Seattle, the one that's missing his hand, he plays for the Roughnecks. He's a defensive end.
Okay.
The two brothers, the cornerbacks. That's right. They were on a video for the Roughnecks this week talking about him and how he's coming along, and they were talking about how in practice in the XFL, they out here hitting. They don't do that in the NFL. In practice, they don't hit. And I was like, see, and that is what's going to make these guys ready for these games. They have been putting in the work for months.
Let me tell you, I watched even Seattle. If you watch those guys play, they've been hitting, and they're not going to exactly be the best defensive team in the lot, but those guys have been going at it hard in practice too. So, yeah, man, most definitely.
And, you know, like, I'm excited to see more of how defense changes in the XFL, because it's going to have to change with the new rules, the way it works, the shorter field. Like, your defense is going to have to change, and they've given these coordinators and these players long enough to figure out how to change it, because I think you're going to see more batted down passes by defensive ends than you see in the NFL, because they're going to have a chance to eye more. Like, if someone throws to a wide receiver to then throw it downfield, well, and then there's a defensive end in line with him and he catches eyes just right, that defensive end is going to jump, and he's going to swat that ball down. And I think you're going to see more swats. I think you're going to see not necessarily more injury hitting or causing hits, but you're going to see harder hits, because these, just like they're giving the receiver more time to prepare, they're giving the defensive end more time to figure out, okay, how can I get him? Where do I need to cut from to get him? Like, how can I truck him? And so I'm excited to see how the defenses adjust. I was really worried about high-scoring games, but I think the defenses are going to adjust to a way, and you're not going to see the high-scoring games I was worried about. I'm just pumped, man.
I'm just pumped. Here's the main reason why I'm pumped is because a lot of times the NFL team can be weak in one area but still be a very good team. Like, for example, if you look at the New Orleans Saints, for example, if you take out Will Lutz, the special teams haven't made a difference for them in a while, yet they're still a very good team. But in this case, in the XFL, all three phases count. You have to be successful in all three phases in order to get a win, I feel. So you have to put emphasis on those special teams. Particularly with the rules changes too, have to put emphasis on the special teams play in the XFL.
I agree. I think it's not going to be focusing on, oh, you're an offensive powerhouse, but you have okay defense, but you managed to score 40 points, but the other team also scored 30 points. You just managed to outscore them.
Right.
I don't think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see closer games. I think you're going to see games that are only decided by points. I think the overtime rule might come into effect more than people are thinking. That's why I think that might get changed, because I think it's going to come to effect more.
And don't forget, guys, all these games this week will be on TV.
So the first game. Oh, you got it, Will. Go ahead. Sorry, man.
No problem. The first game will be on ABC, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. That's ABC. Check it out. Later on today, Fox Sports picks
my Roughnecks.
The Roughnecks, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 Central. Sunday, Fox again at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central with Tampa Bay and the Guardians. And then later on that day will be ESPN at 5 p.m. Eastern, by the Hawks and Renegades. So definitely.
Did you hear those networks that you just listed, man? Like, those are name networks that you just listed that these are on. And one of those, that Sunday time slot, those are key NFL time slots. Not on necessarily NFL channels, but we
Well,
get there, bro.
Well, you know, the NFL on Fox is huge. You know, when ESPN does their Monday night coverage is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So most definitely it's huge, man. And this is going to help, I think, propel the league to greater heights by being on the with that
You see a lot of these guys that are talking, oh, replace the NFL, this is not maybe years down the line. It could be an equal, maybe. But it is never going to replace the NFL. It's not going to happen, guys. Like, the NFL is one of the biggest media giants in the world.
Oh, yeah. That'd be dumb to think it would replace the NFL, but
it could be a second chance for a lot of these players, and it's more football for us.
It's more football for us. I was just about to say that. Your football addiction can still be fed with the XFL. Don't forget that. All right. Is there anything else we need to cover tonight before we get out of here, Joshua?
I don't think so, man. I think that's it. Like I said, we've been saying it the whole time. I'm so ready. 4 more days, and it'll be here. I just want to say, guys, make sure you're out there getting your merch, tickets, go see a game if you're close enough to go see a game.
Yes.
I know Dick's is now selling merch. I've heard that Academy is supposed to be getting it at some point, but I know Dick's has it. Buy your tickets, watch these games. Let's support the XFL. There is a place for spring ball. Like, it can work. And if this works, this gets us all the way to the draft. And then, like, we only got 3 months after that, and then football's back. So, like, get out there, support your XFL team. Like, let's make this happen for the love of football.
Most definitely. And guys, we will be back February the 11th, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll go over all the highlights, get you your stats, everything you guys need.
We will pick our first official XFL Huddle Player of the Week.
Oh, hell yeah. Most definitely. If there is nothing else, Josh, thank you for joining me. Sorry for all the tech issues I had on my end that made us start late.
You're good, man. I think this was a great show. I had a blast. It got me even more pumped, which I didn't think was possible. I do want to say, guys, please write in, and we do have it available to call in. Please send us your questions, your comments, like, get involved with us.
Yes.
Like our page, XFL Huddle Podcast. Send us emails at xflhuddlepodcast@gmail.com.
That's
correct. Man, is there anything else I'm forgetting, Will? There probably is.
Oh, no, you're actually. Oh, yes. Let me do this Let me see if I can real quick. I have another computer open here, so give me 1 second. See if I can find it. Okay. Here we go. There it is. Don't forget, guys, we are taking phone calls, 646-558-8656. We are on the Stables Network, the Stables.network. Head over there, listen to the show, call in 646-558-8656. This is enough. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys
and
for
subscribe
watching.
on YouTube.
Like and subscribe on YouTube. Yes, don't forget to follow our other sister shows over on the Stables Network as well. And we'll see you guys next week on the 11th, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you later. Take care.
Go Roughnecks.